Welcome to Trendcaps channel. The title of the movie is Black Island. In the beginning, we get to know a young man named Jonas and his parents at his grandmother's funeral. After a few months, Jonas's parents are driving the car and talking about his father's relationship with women. Suddenly, a car appears coming from the front, and his father tries to avoid a head-on collision. He drives the car into a ditch and crashes into a tree. No one survived the accident, and then Jonas spends sad days after that. He then attends his father's funeral with his friends Flory, Joel, and Na, who came to support him. He is overcome with sadness and despair, but he does not try to calm down. Later, people gather at Jonas' grandfather's house to pay their respects to his deceased family. Then the grandfather approaches his grandson and tells him that it is not necessary to move to Bavaria to live with his aunt, and he can stay with him on the island until he reaches 18 years of age. A year has passed and Jonas has calmed down and the pain has gone, and we see him with his friends on their bikes and going to school together. In the middle of the school day, a woman enters the classroom and asks the students to follow her. She goes outside and meets with Alan, who is pleasant around her, and tells them that their teacher was involved in an accident while on vacation in Mallorca, and she will be the German language teacher this year. Then the woman introduces herself as Helena, and after class, Jonas and Fleur and sit outside and talk. Then Helena approaches them and asks them if they are free in the evening and what if they can help with arranging the furniture. Jonas hears this and offers to help them meet together and walk to the teacher's house. When they arrive home, the children begin to assemble the wardrobe, while Na stays downstairs to cut the rug. She goes to the pantry and finds a bag marked Majorca. Suddenly, Helena comes in. She asks what she is looking for, and Na answers that she needs a piece of wood. Lena gives the girl what she needs, and Helena leaves. Then she notices that she forgot to remove the tag from her bag. Then they finally finish the wardrobe, but then the girl enters, her leg covered in blood, and she seriously cuts herself, and Florian takes her to the hospital. Once everyone had left, Helena returned to the pantry and tore the tag from the bag. That night, we see a woman sitting at a table with pictures of Jonas. It seems that she is following him. She collects all the pictures and sets them on fire in the sink. The next morning, Jonas meets Belina on the beach, who, like him, goes for a jog. In the morning they talk, and the girl asks him if he is dating his classmate Na, and he answers her in the negative. In class, Helena assigns her students to write a poem. After class, Na goes to Joan's house to ask for help in the next lesson. She reads her paper and Helena realizes that she did not write it. She asks Jones about it and he confesses that it is him. The teacher expresses her admiration and says the boy is talented, and she asks about his other work and asks to see him. Now we move again to Helena's house, who this time is working in the garden. She noticed by chance that Jonas was trying to put a package in her mailbox, so she ran to him, took out the contents, and invited him inside. After the tiring work in the garden, she went to take a shower, and he peeked in on her during the opening of the door, and after a few hours, Jonas finished the last of Jonas's work, and he asked her about her opinion, and after that he saw that she was moved by tears as he wiped the tears from her face, and they exchanged a romantic kiss, which quickly turned into an intimate relationship. The next morning, Jonas met Belina on his way to school and told her that what had happened previously was he made a mistake, and on the way they were passing, when she was surprised to see him in the classroom, Jules noticed and forbade the teacher's strange behavior. After the lesson, the girl admits that she did not write the poem, and when she goes out, she tells Jonas about it. In the next scene, Nan helps Jonas clean his parents' house. He remembers his loss and begins to cry, and Nan hugs him and they exchange a loving kiss. The girl assures him that he will not lose her like his parents. One day later, a small seminar is held at the school, where Grandfather Freddy gives a speech. He notices that Helena is standing at a distance and is doing her short hair. It seems to the man as if he saw a ghost. He falls to the ground and his grandson runs to help him. We move to the house of Frederick, who has recovered. Indeed, from the fainting attack that befell him, he tells Jonas that he saw Helena at that confused moment, and Jonas did not believe him. That night, Jonas wakes up next to Helena, then she kisses him and makes love with him. In the morning, the woman leaves the house quietly, but she does not notice her and leaves the boys breakfast at the door. A few hours later, he and Joel they run on the beach and her friend tells her what happened this morning and what happened at the seminar. Then Joel tells her that her father had a teacher who looked very similar to Helena and had the same hair. In the morning, Jonas goes to school, but his grandfather asks him not to go. The boy wonders if it is related to his teacher, but Frederick quickly rejects him, and Jonas tells him what he saw, and his grandfather answers that perhaps he was imagining. Then Jonas takes the food that she left here, and this helps him realize that he saw Helena leaving his house in the morning. At school, Nahum searches in the old school albums in the library and finds a picture of Helena with a different name. Suddenly the teacher comes and she asks her why she came to the island, fearing that now Jonas will tell everything. Helena kills her, while Jonas wanders the corridors looking for us. Then Helena tries not to discover the body from the smell and returns to the library to hide the body. She takes some tape and ties a rope around the dead girl to the curtain, then carries the load. She goes to her car along the way and realizes that she forgot the girl's bike there. Then she goes back to bring it to the beach, and Jonas finds his friends and asks them about him. He tells them that she was at school this morning, and while Helena was on the other side of the beach, disposing of Nina's body, then we see her applying powder and receiving a message from Jonas, saying he wants to meet her as soon as possible, and during the meeting the boy tells her about Na's disappearance, and Helena tells him that the girl is jealous of him because of what she saw in the morning. So she suggests that he remain friends with her and leave the matter, but Jonas is not convinced by this proposal, but she tempts him and he accepts her, and they spend the night together, and the next day and in the morning, Frederick woke up his grandson and told him that Na's body had been found on the beach. When they arrived there, they saw his father, Na, stricken, and Frederick fainted again and was taken to the hospital. Later, Jonas and Flynn realized that Na's death was not an accident. Then, Joelle told her friends in the school office about her incident, so they began to. They searched in the yearbook and realized that it contained missing pages. Then they tried to find information on the school website and found a picture of Edith with Helena. The friends discovered that she had drowned. Meanwhile, Helena visits Frederick in the hospital and he looks at her in horror and accuses him of killing her mother. Now, it turns out that Frederick is her father, so she now returned to take revenge on him and confessed to the previous murders. The next morning, an ambulance woke Jonas and brought his grandfather to the house. Helena called him and the man who knew her secret. Then, Jonas now treated her with distrust and asked what she was doing here. Then he asked about her mother's name, but their conversation was interrupted because of a call from Florian. Then the woman offers the boy to answer it and assures him that she will tell him everything. Later, Helena enters the house to prepare coffee and pours the powder into Jonas' cup. We see Frederick completely unable to speak or move, so the woman takes him to the window and makes him watch what is happening. Then gives Jonas the coffee that contains on the poison. She tells Jonas that her mother had an affair with his grandfather, and therefore Helena is his aunt. Then the boy begins to feel the effects of the poison and almost loses consciousness. Then the crazy woman drags him into the lake and tries to drown him. Jonas hits Helena with his last strength and returns home to find Frederick lying on the ground, holding the letter she left for him. Wife suddenly, Helena comes to the house and begins to strangle Jonas, and before he can catch his breath, he grabs a piece of glass and stabs her in the heart. A few days later, Jonas was sailing on a ship, and suddenly he noticed that she was wearing a yellow cloak that looked like Helena. This mysterious person was frantically following Jonas, but it turned out that she was an ordinary woman, and now we see Jonas calm and knowing that he can start a new chapter in his life. And here is the end of the movie. Subscribe to support us.